Hello. We are the voices of experience. At least for now, we are. We might change that name, but stay tuned anyway. Four pals from Toronto, Canada. All of us with quite a few miles traveled already down life's highway. While that may not translate directly into voices of wisdom, and in our particular cases it does not indeed, we can promise you an entertaining discussion on a wide range of topics of current interest. So, sojourn with us for more than 3 minutes and 34 seconds. You'll hear a variety of points of view. You'll be amused, provoked, stimulated. Okay. So, what? Let me pass the word along to Al, I guess, right?
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome today, folks. Joining me is Andrew Wood, whom you've just heard from, Mario Karakides, our resident Toastmasters speaking champion, and Sarab Sandhu, our guru for longevity unleashed. Ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is the vaccines that are being deployed at the moment. Now, up here in Canada, we've started receiving the Pfizer vaccine, and in all likelihood, we'll be getting the Moderna vaccine very soon as well. And our country is very anxious to get these vaccines deployed. We're all very tired of this pandemic, very, very tired. And while Canada is one of the first countries in getting these vaccines, a lot of other countries will be getting them soon. So if you're listening to this and your country hasn't got it yet, you can expect it soon. And if you do not get it from the manufacturers, maybe you'll get some help from our country, because we want to help. Now, so what are the issues around the vaccine? Well, as you may know, there's 2 out now that have been approved, at least in Canada and various states. China and Russia have also approved their own vaccines for general use, although they haven't tested them as well as the Pfizer and Moderna. And in actual fact, there's more vaccines being in the pipeline right now. By next summer, we might have as many as 16. But what does this mean? Well, firstly, in the long run, there will probably be enough vaccines for everyone in the world, surprisingly enough. Now, that's 7 billion people. And there's a lot of vaccines that have to be made. But the question might ask, well, okay, but what now? I mean, what about the 2 that are being deployed? Well, there's still a lot of reluctance about them. In Canada, for example, I read recently that about 1/3 of our population is very leery about getting vaccinations. And to tell us a little more about this, I'm going to pass this on to others in this group. Andrew, you were telling us an interesting story just before this podcast started.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, yes. I mean, vaccines. See, that's the thing. The vaccines are useless. They are completely useless while they are in the vials that the manufacturer is shipping them in. They only become useless when they are in the arms of people who need to receive that vaccination. And that's the question, is it not? Are they going to open up their arms and present them for that needle? Myself, I will. I'm going to get a vaccination as soon as I'm offered one. But the story you're referring to, I was telling you that I was out for a walk with a friend of mine just a couple of hours ago. And she was saying that there was no way she was going to get the vaccine, nor would she vaccinate her children. And not that she's some kind of, anti-vaxxer, activist, but she's just saying she doesn't believe in putting things into people's bodies that are not absolutely necessary. So her kids are vaccinated, obviously, against the measles and rubella, but she says those have been proven for decades and decades and decades. And she is not anxious to, be one of the first people in line for these new vaccines.
Mario, what do you think about this? Would you get a vaccination?
Well, to piggyback on what Andrew said, her concerns are right, and there is a problem in the messaging that has gone out, whether it's political, whether it is the speed of this warp speed thing that we're hearing in the States and other countries as they're trying to really ramp up to get this. It all comes down to a lack of preparedness, right? There were certain governments back, a few years ago that had set some protocols, but it wasn't really universal so that everybody would be able to adopt the same protocols when there was a threat. As far as me, and I'm going to expand on that later on, but as far as me accepting the vaccine, once my turn comes up, I will take the vaccine. But there are concerns from my particular perspective, whether or not it's safe. Okay, and that is something that is basic to the messaging that has to come out to the populace to trust it. Now you're starting to see the messaging coming out where the politicians and the doctors and they're all coming out and saying that I'm proud to take it as one of the first people to do it, so they can show. Even the 3 American past presidents have said that they're going to do this. They're going to take it first publicly. That should have been done a long time ago, like 8-9 months ago, when this thing started to happen, so that they can give us the confidence when the vaccines did come out that there is scientific ethics behind it, and then the efficacy of the actual product will meet up with that. And I'll continue later on.
And actually, Mario, there are some valid concerns with this, which I mentioned before this podcast started. There has been one vaccine candidate that actually has been canceled because of side effects. You don't hear much about it in the news, but it was being developed in Australia, as I saw. Another thing is that there's also different varieties of or types of vaccines. Right now, the 2 that have been approved, Moderna and Pfizer, will not be enough to vaccinate the world. According to what the politicians say, we maybe have the majority of Canadians vaccinated by September. But if that's going to happen, we're going to need more than just those 2, I think. And there's a number in the pipeline, as I said, that are coming, but some of them, the reports on them, they have some side effects that are still being worked on, and that's why they're still in the phase 3 trial. Sarab, would you take the vaccine if you had a chance? If it was offered to you today?
Well, thank you very much, and all the listeners. Welcome to the show. I must tell you a little story about smallpox. When I was small, when I was born, like 2 years ago, when I was 2 years old, maybe 1 year, one year old.
2 years ago.
You've aged quickly.
Yeah, they came to my village. I was in the village. That anybody here for smallpox, it was forced vaccination. And my grandmother would hide me. And she said, nobody's here. And it went on like that till my dad came back from UK, where he was studying. He says, has been vaccinated? No. Then they took me to get vaccinated when I was 1.5 years old. And it really bloated up because I was late in getting that. So this also happens is, she wasn't an anti-vaxxer or anything, but she didn't believe anything going in there. I'm talking about the vaccines now which are being produced. You mentioned Pfizer, Moderna. Pfizer is 95% effective. That means 5% it doesn't work. 90% is Moderna. And the one which was stopped was AstraZeneca, I think, in Australia. And that was 90%.
That's the British one. AstraZeneca is British. The one he's referring to is a different one.
And in the end, in India, they found out that the recovery rate without any vaccine is 93.6%. So then you wonder, why do you want a vaccine? Because if the recovery rate is very close to 95%, you might as well go with that sort of method. So,
well, Sarab, without the vaccine, probably 2% of the world's populations will die strictly from this virus, COVID-19, because that's what's happening right now. We don't see it, a lot of it, because it's being dragged out. this pandemic is not spread as fast as previous ones, but the statistics are showing that 2% of the population will die, and will be old farts like us. We're the ones that are on the front line. Andrew.
Well, there's only two options. I mean, when you really think about it, one will achieve immunity through the vaccines, and hopefully that's the way it will be. The only other way to achieve immunity is for it to spread unchecked through the population. They call that herd immunity. So do we really want to go for the herd immunity option and just let it run rampant through the population? I don't think so.
Well, either of them will produce herd immunity, right? So
Yeah.
the vaccine will create the herd immunity artificially through the vaccine.
Right.
The problem is, as Al Brown correctly articulated, we're looking at about a 14 million people dying because of this, right? If we allow it just to perpetuate. And that is a major, major loss of life. And quite honestly, it's criminal to allow that.
140 million.
140 million. Forgive
He
me.
dropped a zero. We
I
understand.
dropped the zero there. There you go.
Pick
So
that zero
that's the
up
old fart
on the floor
mentality.
somewhere.
There you go. So 140 million. That's correct. 140 million people. Now, can you bear allowing that to happen? And anybody who is advocating from that is cold.
Well, yes, Andrew.
I'm perfectly willing to allow that to happen. Why not? As long as it doesn't affect me personally.
You know, that
I
could
know
be
he's being
why there's a
facetious.
lot of resistance to this, because a lot of people think it isn't going to happen to them. I personally don't know anybody that's got this virus. And I probably some of you may know somebody that's been infected, but I don't know anybody that has.
I
So
do.
where is it? I mean, it's only affected less than 2% of the population here in Canada so far. And
I know several people who have had it, and one was near death.
Yeah,
So,
really.
I got a WhatsApp post where somebody is doing a biopsy on a COVID patient in India. They're showing actually the lung transplant, and the lung was absolutely like stone for the COVID patient, because something happens like a thrombosis where the blood congeals and it becomes like a useless piece of organ. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. That's what's killing people.
Yeah, several of my teaching colleagues have had the virus out. I mean, teachers are exposed among the other frontline workers, right? I mean, and no one's died in my awareness, but still, and some of them have a rough time. You have a rough time with this virus if you catch a bad dose of it.
oh yeah, and it's not an easy thing, and especially if you've got pre-existing conditions that could exacerbate that even more, that creates the dangers for a lot of people. And there is, again, it goes back to the messaging that has, in the lack of correct messaging, it's created a vacuum for conspiracy theories to come up. People that are pushing products, that are pushing agendas are coming up, and it doesn't allow the correct message to come through. And that is the fault of government. And we got to lay it in their laps because it is their fault. They did not allow, they've created the environment, and now the virus, in a very different way, the messaging virus has gotten out of control, and a lot of people don't trust this. And until we start to regain that, and maybe it's just too late for COVID, because there's just so much disbelief out there that people are going to resist, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it out there. Anti-vaxxers going out and doing, claiming that they should be free. It's not about freedom, folks.
No,
it's not about freedom. It's about health, and it's about protecting somebody else. So let's get the message right.
Yes. As I see it, even with the questions on the virus, we probably don't have an option. But even if we do have this option, for most of us, it's not coming for at least 3 to 4 months, because we're only going to get about 1 million doses, perhaps. I think that's what they said, by March, which is good to vaccinate maybe 500,000 people, because you need
You have a problem with zeros there, Al?
Well, I have problems with the zero.
500, 500. Well, same thing. 500, 500,000. Same difference.
So, gentlemen, let's bring this podcast to a conclusion with some final thoughts here. Mario, could you start first?
Well, I'm going to continue on the same message that I've been giving throughout this thing, and that is, again, messaging. When the vaccines do come out, people need to be happy to lend their hands. However, there also has to be a non-coercive way of delivering this so that people don't feel that somebody is pushing them to do this, and restrictions will happen if you don't do it, because this is the message that we're hearing now. Life will be restricted for those who don't choose to take the vaccine. It's a double-edged sword that they're giving you. That is a false message that they should be giving. They should be showing us the proof that this is good, that it has long-term effects that are good for you, that you will be protected. And that is all part of the package that they should be delivering to us so that we can trust it. If we trust it, it will, everybody will come willingly. But if there is any doubt, like many of us do, because of its safety, because of its quickness, because of the way they're rolling it out, telling you that you take it or you don't have a life afterwards, I'm sorry, folks, they're missing the point here. And it's time for them to really, really get with the message. So I will leave it at that with my.
Okay.
Sarab, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, all I can say is that now with this, if you go hindsight, do you wonder if this was made to cause the 2% dead in the world? Maybe they want to reduce the population. It's going on the other tangent. But now since the vaccine has come up, it can protect people. One should take it. And if you don't feel right, don't take it. But the main thing, as Mario says, it's not about you. It's about other people. How are you going to protect the environment and the spread of it? So you have to be part of the solution. For that, you have to take it. Thank you.
Andrew?
Yeah, well, for myself, I'm going to take it the very first day it's offered to me. And then I'm going to take it again 21 days later, by the way. We didn't mention that part, did we? You don't really get protected with that first shot. But, sorry, I'm a little bit of an entrepreneur, and I understand there's a lot of people out there who are hesitant. I'm going to create a little thing that offers you immunity without taking the vaccine. You don't need to take the vaccine. I'm going to offer my own little potion online. It's going to be based on barley and malt. I haven't quite figured out the exact formulation, but I'm testing it. I'm testing it actively, and we will see when time comes. And if you don't want to get the shot, you can take my barley and malt mixture.
So you'll call it COVID beer, right? Or COVID be gone beer.
There you go. Make $1 million.
Sounds good. Well, gentlemen, I'm not going to take the vaccine until everybody else has. Not that I just don't feel that. I feel that I'm healthier than most. The most susceptible to this are, of course, those with impacted immune systems and such, and other health conditions. And I don't think I fall into that group. I think that there are others that should have it before me. And well, we'll see where that goes. I also believe that it's important that we maintain our health, because it has also been shown that the impact of the virus can be mitigated by healthy efforts, taking lots of vitamin D, vitamin C, and other supplements. And that's what I've been doing. So we'll see what it happens. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your comments and contributions. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this podcast. See you again soon.
Okay.